What is up, guys? It is your boy Isaiah, aka Duval's Finest. I wanted to come to you guys with a quick video, probably just 4 or 5 minutes. We're gonna make it short out of this too. Kind of talk about my main concerns, watching more film, doing more stuff with that previous game, the Browns game, and a little bit of the Miami game, just kind of reflecting on both. Want to talk about my top 5 things that I'm worried about, and what we can kind of expect going forward. First off, number one, our coaching. Not a huge fan of what's going on right now in the building. It seems like what we thought was the problem was not last year. No, I don't want to say Mike Caldwell was right and that he was a great defensive coordinator. He definitely wasn't. But the offense has regressed again, and it's just not looking good. Two, offensive line. Offensive line has looked abysmal this year, even worse than last year, in my opinion. Three, interior defensive line. There's no reason, Jordan Jefferson and Mason Smith should have been healthy scratches. I don't know about Jefferson, but I know that Mason Smith was 100% a healthy scratch. The running backs, Etienne looks like he's taken a step back. He's not hitting holes. He's not being decisive with his running. Tank Bigsby was, but then he got hit and hurt, and then he came back in, and they didn't let him touch the field again. Dearness Johnson played well, though, in his stead. And number 5, wide receiver core /drops/ play calling. Brian Thomas Jr. is not getting enough targets, and I think that is absolutely ruining what we've got going. But kind of getting into it from here, though, the coaching. I think there's a real possibility, and I hate to say this, that we could be 0-4, and I talked about this on the last episode, by week 4, 0-4. We have the Bills coming up, and we have the Texans. Those are both tough games, and we're away for both of them, so that's also tough. It's going to be a Monday Night Football game. Something to think about on that is if we are 0-4, I don't think Doug Peterson and Press Taylor survive. I think they're both gone. I think Trent Baalke and Shad Khan will move on from them. Can't clean house in the middle of the season, so I do think that Ryan Nielsen will be elevated to head coach. I think that his defensive backs coach, I believe Corey Robinson, he's the assistant coach / DBs or cornerbacks coach. I'm sorry. I think he'll be elevated to DC. Then I can see either Nick Holes or Mike McCoy being moved up to our OC for the rest of the year. Also, too, I think that if we elevate somebody like that, Mike McCoy or Nick Holes, I think that Trevor Lawrence is going to start kind of doing his own thing a little bit more. Kind of tough to let your quarterback call the plays, but at this point, he's kind of not doing it. I think he should potentially, if he thinks that a play call is not going to work, or he thinks that he can dial one up, we should do that. But also, clearly we're not giving him the amount of time back there that he needs to do that, and we got to get our run game started. And ETN's got to start hitting these holes when they open up. Big thing for me, I think that the offensive line, we kind of know what we've got at this point. I think Cam Robinson should be benched. I think he's playing terrible. Antoine has not played great, but one of his worst plays, he got tripped by Etienne coming out of the backfield. Etienne's foot is 6 inches to the right. There, he doesn't get dropped. He might get bull rushed and knocked over. I don't think so, though. We've never seen, at least not consistently seen, Antoine Harrison just get absolutely run over by anybody. He's gone up against some of the best pass rushers in the league, including Myles Garrett, T.J. Watt, these big guys. So I don't think that's happening if Etienne doesn't trip him. But overall, had a bad game. But, man, they're just going to start putting their fastest rusher on Cam Robinson. I think we need to bench him at this point. I think we need to kind of see what we've got with Walker Little. I don't think there's any way at all that we actually run it back with Cam Robinson next year. No reason to re-sign him, no reason to franchise tag him. He's been absolutely terrible these past 2 years, and he somehow grades out high, and that's mainly because Trevor Lawrence gets out of the pocket and doesn't take the sack as often when it comes off the left side. I don't know how he can sense it better than the right side, but it just seems like sometimes he does. But yeah, man, it's just one of those things where I think Cam Robinson's run his course. The Cam Robinson project is over, in my opinion. Let's just see what we got in Walker Little, or if Van Lanen comes back, maybe let's see what we got in Van Lanen. But clearly something's got to change. Even if we slide Ezra Cleveland out there to left tackle, that's what he came out as. We got to figure something out. Cam Robinson is not it. Mitch Morse, he's looked decent. He's looked good. Overall, he's not the road grader we thought he was, but he has been playing pretty well. Pass coverage, he's been taking some switches that, sack wasn't really on him in the red zone. It was kind of on a little bit of a combination of him and Ezra Cleveland. Cleveland absolutely got his arms just knocked out from under him. That was a bad move by Cleveland, bad awareness. But Mitch Morse tried to stop him, and it just wasn't enough. Trevor couldn't get the ball out. We're running, our shortest route was 10 yards. and we're on the 2-yard line. They're back to the goal line, back to the end zone. I mean, it makes no sense. Trevor's taking the snap 3-4 yards deep in the end zone. There's absolutely no reason we should be running concepts with a 30-yard streak on the left side, and 2 deep ends, 10, 15-yard ends makes no sense. Need a quick pass there. Very obvious we needed that, but in the wide receivers, we're seeing them drop balls. And Trevor has not had the most accurate arm this year, throwing a lot under pressure, having to roll out a lot. And there's been a couple times where he's rolled out when he really didn't need to, or he could have gotten a ball out. But he just does not trust that O-line. And I think he's tired of taking shots. He takes some shots last game and the game before where guys just came through free. And he took a shot and delivered a strike. And if the receiver caught it or not, I think it doesn't help that the Brenton Strange, I think that was a catch, in my opinion. He kept his arm under it. He had both feet in. He got control before he hit the ground out of bounds. Bad call by the refs there, but again, one play. We can't let that change the outcome of a game. I don't think that did, honestly, but it's just one of those things where we really got to kind of tighten that up. But, players of the game for me, Brenton Strange, I think he had a great game. I think Montaric Brown had a better game than people such as Trevor are willing to admit. Kind of give him a rough time. I mean, the dude's not a burner. He's a zone corner who, we're in a man scheme. He's not the fastest guy, but he's got good ball skills and he tackles great. He has been an absolutely phenomenal tackler. I don't know if I said this on the episode, but I honestly think he's a safety stuck in the corner position. He could be a good nickel, honestly, potentially. Besides the fact that he have to go against some of the slot guys that are a little bit faster, and that's kind of some of his issue. But on like blitzing plays or plays where we're trying to stop the run, he could be a solid nickel defender and given that opportunity to Jari an outsider, DeAndre Prince. But I think he played better than people are willing to give him credit for, and some people are recognizing that, some people aren't, and that's fine. But overall, we just gotta play better. Execution, there's absolutely no excuse. Brian Thomas Jr. I mean, 2 weeks in a row, he's had a 40, 50-yard plus play that he's either pulled the pass interference on or he's caught down the field. It's just unacceptable that he got 2-3 targets that entire game or something. I think he had 2 catches, 3 targets, something like that. When you have other receivers from other places that are rookies that are getting 18, 20 targets, 15 targets, whatever it is. We force-fed Ridley last year, and I don't understand why we're not doing the same thing to a taller, faster, better hands guy like Brian Thomas Jr. Thomas Jr. did have a boneheaded drop. I mean, again, he's a rookie. We're kind of expecting some stuff like that. It was hit him in both hands, but again, I just don't know that was necessarily what I just don't necessarily think that we need to go after him for that one drop. The other one was on Trevor. Trevor threw with anticipation, but he underthrew him for sure over there going towards the sideline. So I think it was 4 targets through 2 catches, 1 drop. And I just think that Brian Thomas Jr. needs more targets. I think when you kind of let Trevor Lawrence loosen up, but it's going to be hard behind that line. But anyways, I'm going to sign out here. Just wanted to kind of touch base with you guys, let you guys know, since we had this long week, do a little bit of a longer style. We'll also do the short kind of touching on what I talked about here. But shout out Worm, and y'all have a good day.